But can you see me?
I can see you.
Are you sure about that?
You're wearing an Everlast shirt. Yeah, it's camouflage. Oh, you still got the tags on. Nice.
Yeah, I just tried it on before I hopped onto this call. I'm not sure if I like it yet or not. So,
Everybody, welcome to The Switch. Felix, founder of Breakneck. This is my host, Luis Elprod. The Switch is basically a podcast about people that have a passion and able to take it and make it their career. And Mav, I think you're definitely one of those people that personifies what I just said because, your passion is hip hop, breaking. Um, you kind of hit all the four elements. And yeah, man, I thought you'd be a perfect guest for the show. So everyone, welcome Mav One, a community leader. Somebody that not only just the b-boy, but like passes down the knowledge. A child, like a teacher of this culture, and someone that has been riding with me since Break Connect, like came on the scene, which I really, really appreciated.
yeah,
So give it up for the one and only Mav One.
Mav one in the mix. What is that? What are you doing?
We're cheering. It's a proud thing. Come on.
There was
Well,
zero
that's
sound coming out of your mouth. That looked crazy. Mav, what's going on, man? Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, this is cool. I've watched a few of these already, the ones you had up and stuff like that. So this is cool, and appreciate putting me on, bringing me on for this.
Yeah, man, we've got a pretty, not very long actually. The list is not long of the guests that we've had because we're pretty intentional with who we like to bring on. It's not just anybody. We don't just bring on the first person that comes to mind. We really like to think about it and, discuss, feel out who is a good guest that represents exactly what we like to talk about. And you were on that list. We had to kick off season two with Squid, and then we had to go immediately to Mav One. And we've been wanting to have you on this podcast for a while. So season two was the right time to do it. Now that we've got a bit of our bearings straight. I don't know if you watched the first few episodes, but we hiccuped our way through those. So now we've got it all down, and now it's your time. Now it's time to put the spotlight on Mav One. Man, one of the biggest reasons why we wanted to have you on was I know Felix already touched on it, so I'm going to reiterate, but you are someone that breathes, lives, and like I think, in my opinion, lives entirely by this culture. Someone that passes the knowledge down. I took a look at some of the work that you do, and I'm personally like really inspired because we've had guests that do a lot of things, right? Like Rock's right, it's a world champion competitor. Great. Ronnie, he was like the first Red Bull BC1 champion. He's built a name for himself and all of that. But very rarely do we have someone on that I think is like rooted into their city the way you are. So tell us a little bit about what it's like to be in Detroit. Tell us a little bit about how you came up in the realm of hip hop, and yeah, just kind of give us an overview of your beginnings.
Yeah. I like started in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Just it was kind of the neighborhood thing to do. Like hip hop was very present in our community, in our neighborhood. Like crews were in high school, like there was different crews in different high schools. There was, just different rec centers where different people practiced. And, I think at a point it was like 30, 40 odd breakers, B-boys, B-girls, like getting down in our neighborhood. Um, and it just fizzled out because the rec centers kind of like gave us the boot. We were bad, man. Like I don't blame them. I always say that. Like try to, like oh the rec centers kicked us out. I would have too. Like we were getting in fights, tagging all over everything. Most of us right, so we were just anywhere we could put our name, just all that stuff, all that cool stuff.
You weren't
Um,
making it easy for the staff
yeah,
over
yeah. So it made it hard, and then being out here, most of our spots were those community centers. So it just, they fizzled out. That really kind of like fizzled out the scene out here. We went from like 40 to like 5 people that stayed for a while, maybe
there.
7, kind of. And then by like 2010s, it was just kind of out. Like our, yeah, mid to like that mid 2000s, it was kind of out in the neighborhood. I stayed with it for a while. I stayed with it here and there. And then I just kind of, stopped as well. And then, randomly, like I just started back up like in like 2008, 2009 or something like that, started teaching and then just started breaking again. And then, stayed, just local. I was just getting down and just enjoying it, even as a kid, like that was my big thing was just I like to break. I liked the social aspect of it and stuff like that. I know everybody's like, the parties and girls and stuff. But like I always say, like they never rocked with us because we were breaking. Like we were on the
That's
ground all sweaty. Like they did not come up. That wasn't the MO. Like I was fine doing that whole reach and approach in other ways. I didn't need it through breaking,
hey, that's facts. I
Socially, I
preach
was
the
always
same thing.
out hanging out, had big groups of friends and stuff like that, and just like being out, talking, hanging. But that era in the early like 2000s was like mad different. Like the legacy crews weren't a thing here. Like we don't have like there wasn't a lot of teaching going on either. Like we just kind of learned stuff, watching some of the videos, going to practice,
Facts.
that whole wave. And it like yeah, it was like really like hard to like come up in Detroit breaking wise. There wasn't a lot. You had hardcore Detroit. They were a little bit older than us, like in the neighborhood. But
Hmm.
besides that, like we didn't see too much like people coming in and traveling, teaching. That didn't come until probably like 2012, 2013 when we started
Yeah.
seeing people come into the city to like teach. And that was through, me through stuff. Marlon, a couple people from Mexico randomly ended up here, Smear Rock. I think they were in like Battleholics or Cadetes del Toque. I can't remember what crews they were, but they randomly moved up here for like a summer and they were like the most hip hop people we ever met. Like they were carrying records, they were showing up to practice with 1200s. Like we were
God
like,
damn.
and then they got down and taught us how to rock. So it took all the way till then.
Holy shit.
Um, but yeah, so it was like, we just kind of we were getting down and then, with the music, that's what really kept movement for me specifically, probably everybody else, but like, like I could say Strings as well because like Strings has been dancing at the clubs and spaces since 98, and like
Yeah.
just rocking, ciphering by himself, just enjoys music. I always say like the city sonically we're blessed. So we got like ill DJs like nights constantly. I mean, then when you look at like what the city's known for, Motown, techno,
Yeah.
Dilla, like they're not just one-offs. There's a whole group that comes up around that stuff like that. So, we end up like just really kind of being fortified in like our sound and stuff like that. So like Preach from GCOS Strings, I'd say myself in that stride, like everybody, we don't break fast. There's a lot of patience and stuff like that. And I think that just comes from the music. It was slower and more chill. But then on the other side, there's like ghetto tech and techno, and that slam like JIT is a Detroit style. And I don't know if you guys hear that banging downstairs, but that's the class downstairs, right? Okay, cool.
No.
But there's a class downstairs we teach JIT, and that's going on downstairs. Well, Gabby from House of JIT teaches Detroit JIT, and that's going on, and that's like 120 BPM. Boom, 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 like it's a
Fast.
dance style native to Detroit, comes from like the 70s. These guys, Strings has been a big, like huge influence on that in the city, all of us, the way that moves. Yeah, so it's like that's like early on. And then, I just, I bumped around from crews, battling, traveling. I stayed in the Midwest mostly.
Right.
So like Chicago was like our big like rival, big scene, and they were just powerhouses in the early
Yeah.
2000s. Brickheads,
Dude.
Chicago Tribe, Phase Two,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-X, Junk Warts, like these guys, like there was just like elite level. There was no like buffer, like there was no like kind of like in between. It was like, oh, we're learning, and then now we're battling like Waka and Shorty Break, who just got back from like
No entry
like
level, bro. Straight
yeah,
to the
yeah. There was
pros.
nothing. It was that. It was like, oh, they just got back from what do you call it? Not Battle of the Year, the other one. All versus all.
Uh,
No,
Outbreak or
not
IDE.
IBE. Yeah, they just got back from IBE. Shorty Brick just got back from IBE. And when they had
Oh
that,
yeah.
yeah, they had that big, and it was like technique, Natron,
Damn.
Flea. It was like what's his name? Machine. It was like a crazy squad that they had. And like he comes back and like the first battle they enter, then we're battling them in top 16. It was like, yeah, this is great.
It's a crazy top 16 battle,
But
bro. That's
yeah,
nuts.
but that was cool. Like we got down, like I enjoyed like battling going out there. And then, in between that, I'd say the biggest thing in getting started with MCSDA with the academy is like just noticing when I was teaching how much like little value dance studios cared about breaking.
Yeah.
Like they didn't want the history, they want a choreo. Mind you, this was like the 2012 era when I started like when I was consistently teaching through that time.
So when you were
So that
teaching, you didn't have a studio yet. This is kind of
nope,
like the
nope.
beginning era.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yep, yeah. So all that, so that's like the ABD, the dance crew, America's Best Dance Crew era.
Um,
Jabberwocky's coming out, so
yeah.
everybody wanted that sort of stuff, and I was just kind of like, meh. Like that's a lane, like that's their stuff. Like I don't do that here.
Facts.
Um, So yeah, I started throwing a couple jams. This is around how everything kind of got started. Started throwing a few jams, and then this was like the B-Boy Spot forum days too. So
Yo.
I'm promoting, I'm sharing videos, and I like put some. I can't even remember what it was, but whatever the flyer said pissed Max One off, and he was like, "What is like? Why are you advertising like this? This is stupid. Here, I'm gonna redo it for you. I'll send it to you." And I'm like, all right, cool. Sends it to me. I'm like, oh, this is what you meant. It was just more cohesive, the way the battle wasn't trying to give too much information. The dude knew what he was talking about. So Max, after that, he took me under his wing, man. I just stayed rocking with him, until the end of his days and stuff. And then I just, really like he's, was a huge advocate of like how I got started, just seeing the B-boy spot, Fusic, Squadron, like all that stuff, biggest and baddest. There's like all these elements of like that 2013 era, and like all of it came from Orlando. Like, that was when Vic was popping, Outbreak. Like they had
Yes,
the
sir.
jam, they had the band, they had the fashion. It was like all out of there. That was like a whole era. And it like I remember for a long time I was always chasing, trying to like, oh, I gotta find a brand to be the biggest and baddest out here. I gotta find a band to be the Fusic out here. And then eventually I was like, not knowing, I'm like running around. There's this band. Well, everybody probably knows who Will Sessions is because they hear it on mixtapes, they hear it at jams. And it's like
Hmm.
all those like Illmatic covers. That's from
Okay.
Yup.
Elzai's album, Elmatic, and Will Sessions was the band that did all of that. And then they dropped a whole bunch of other funk tracks. These guys were playing shows in that early time and were like charging like $5, $10 at the door. Now it's like $40. They're worth it. But like
Inflation.
they were playing nothing but funk. They were playing covers. So everything that we would get down to, they were playing. It's Just Begun, Can't Walk in the Park at Night, like the Johnny Pate tracks, Donald Byrd, all kinds of Donald Byrd, Lonnie Winston, right? Yeah. Lonnie Winston, like all these tracks and all this stuff, and just them playing it. And like we would go, it was this event called Funk Night, and
Hmm.
it's been going on for like 2001, every last Friday of the month. Um,
Since
and
2001, same
yeah,
event.
yeah, yeah. It's called Funk Night, and Funk Night Records. It's Frank Rains. It's his record label, Funk Night Records. But like they're the ones who pressed East Coast Affair. Like
Mm.
I had posted East Coast Affair, a clip of them, like this was a few years ago, and Frank seen my story and was like, "Man, those guys are dope. Are they signed?" I was like, "I don't know. Here's my homie Flag's number." And a year later, Flag's like, "Oh yeah, man, they pressed our record. Like they pressed it through them." I'm like, "Well, that's cool. Like that was dope. Like I love those kind of connections and stuff.
Yeah,
And
man.
like through the music.
Dude, it looks like you have built a lot of connections over time because personally, I know that Felix has already like known you for a while and you've been a big supporter of Break Connect, but you and I have never touched base yet in person. So obviously, as I do with all my guests, I make sure that I do my research. And I saw your logo, the MCSDA logo. And then
Yeah,
I realized, yo, I've seen this logo on so many flyers over the last few years. Like now I can finally put a face to the
yeah,
logo. And then that got me thinking, like, dude, like, when did you even start with MCDSA? Like, when did this begin for you? And based on your website, y'all do a lot. So, what is your
Yeah.
role in this organization? And like, what are some of the things that you offer?
Um, I like, we started MCSDA as a breaking school. And
Hmm.
then I was like, we'll teach dance and stuff like that. And that was 2016 when I got started. Short enough. I went to freestyle session in 2014, and I think it was the San Diego one.
The San Diego one,
Yup, that one was bro. That one was
Yeah, I
dope.
love, bro. I quit my job and started this shit.
yeah.
Like I was
Oh,
like, that was amazing. I don't want to go back. Like I was working a corporate job for like a shipping and I was an operations manager for like a home delivery furniture thing.
Oh, shit.
And there's a whole story there and how that helped. But I just came back and I was like, I quit, man. Like I'm gonna go figure out something because that was too ill. It was the first time I made it out. It took me until 2014 to get out to freestyle session. I just came back and quit and got started. I had some plan, but like reality, like I was just kind of like I could teach. I know my neighborhood. I got some money saved up. And I was just gonna teach and like do like contract work like through like construction contract work on the side
Mhm.
in between stuff. But I just happened to connect with a few people in the community in my neighborhood. Like I'm born and raised in Southwest Detroit. And so like I've got like not just lifelong, but like family and generational
Yeah.
connections here through like organizations, people who own buildings and things like that. So when we got started, like I again, like it was just like the dance schools don't care. Like I don't want to teach that brand of breaking.
Mhm.
Um, I just wanted to find something else to do. Like I was just drained into a 9 to 5 and like not doing anything creative. And then like I was like, damn, like I really enjoyed my upbringing, getting down with all these people, that was fun. And all the neighborhood, everybody coming from different parts of the neighborhood to come practice in one space is cool. And like was like really like stuck with me, like how that created that like social aspect. And then yeah, so I just got started like real simple, but again, like there's like little neighborhood like organizations and just going into the right meetings and talking to like community spaces, partnerships for youth advocacy and things like that. And that kind of like was like, the gas that got the vehicle moving was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna teach breaking, but like there needs to be something more. I'm gonna teach hip hop, there needs to be something more. So it's like youth development on a very shallow level, like just like confidence and all the surface level stuff, and then I spent the next
Yeah.
couple years like really mining and like creating like a mission and a vision, for us to do that. And it's like, so and now, coming up on our 10 year this June, um, it's I can't even say we're like just a hip hop space. Like it's like a creative hub because there's so many people like bands practice here, host shows. People do performances. The guy who teaches Crump here, Renegade, did a whole performance, like an hour-long solo performance called Black. And it was like the history and all the way through the diasporic movement and everything else, and then all the way till like you know what we're currently dealing with everything out here and stuff. And and like it was real dope. He ended it on a message like solidarity in black and brown spaces. So that was real cool. So like again, like there's just so much creativity that comes in, and like even like build outs and stuff like that, and immersive experiences. We got into like working with like Snipes and Adidas, but not like the breaking side,
Yeah.
the franchise side, or the storefront sides. So we were like building like really cool, like we built out a giant what's it called, Adidas box,
Oh
and like it
shit.
would open and then the DJ was in there and stuff like that. Like we built giant records, like we were building all this stuff, and then we were like that turned into us like for our parade float for Cinco de Mayo and stuff like that parade that we got here. And so it just turned into all this creative stuff that we've been doing, the DJing classes, production classes, beat making, different dance styles, crump, breaking obviously,
Bro, I
jit.
saw you had bachata on there,
Yeah,
dude. You had
bachata,
everything.
salsa, like We
Yeah.
do Debki, which is like a Palestinian dance because we have like a huge Palestinian community out here. So it's
Fire.
their like whole movement. We have them, and we're able to like help out with that. And and it was just even before I this stuff's been ongoing since like the 50s, 60s and stuff. But like even before all of it, before we knew those are in solidarity in these spaces and stuff like that. So the value system permeates through like what we do, representing creating spaces for us to be creative, like just creative people. Like, it doesn't have to be. That was another thing, like again with the dance studios or other spaces, like I don't do recitals, I don't do end product, if you will,
Yeah.
culminate events, because it's like, we don't stop, like we don't stop partaking in this culture. Like we get down, we continue to get down, like yeah, there's battles and competitions, showcases that the kids will get down and do a cipher and stuff, but like I don't do recitals. That's just not our model and how I value like them showing our art. It's like, let's go out there and create it in an event that's happening like for another organization that's doing a mural. We'll take part in that. We'll add to it the way that B-boys and B-girls usually do. Get down, play music, and add energy. So, all that stuff, all these different things that we do. My son the past like year really took off and like he designed the MZK anniversary trophies that
Mm.
if you go look at like Jihad, he's got one and
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, those
yeah,
are pretty fire.
yeah, those are his. He made those in the shop, just wherever that door. Yeah, that door. Like on the other side down the hallway, like he made those trophies, cipher, what is it? Film cipher. Hold on. These ones.
Let me
Oh, that's
see.
So
sick.
the film cipher one. So he made all these and stained them, did the whole routing, and then did the laser engraving to clean this out. But
Gas.
then at the gym, he brought the laser engraver, and then he did if you got one of them, you put your name on it and stuff like that. So you got your name live at the event stuff.
Man,
And a couple other
That's sick.
gyms he's done. The Who Got the Props ones were ill and stuff like that. So yeah, we just we got somebody on that's gonna help us with like shirt printing, screen printing. I'm not trying to turn it into a business. It's just the idea that like we have that stuff here. So like if we did a random pop-up event, we could print out shirts real easy.
in-house, everything
Yeah,
in-house.
everything in
Yeah.
house. Like that way it's just and it's customizable. It's accessible for us to just grab and screen print. You know what I mean? Like, like what we throw a random cipher jam and we want to just print out a t-shirt and a trophy, we got the screens.
That's
We got the
fire.
large format printers, like 48, 44 inch that we popped up on and stuff. So yeah.
Yo, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you also like provide like dance work for the people that are part of your studio? Because I saw that there was like a link for bookings, and I don't know if that was like you for you booking you or like booking like people that are part of the studio.
Yep. I booking us for shows, performances, workshops. I think our bread and butter is after school programming. So
Fire.
like and in school programming now. So like again, like I spent this time like in the early phase of MCSDA figuring out the language that the city used specifically for Title One money as opposed to Title Three, which is Title Three is like the after school and all the like fun stuff. Title One is in school, like 8 a.m. to 2:30.
Hmm.
And inside of that is gym class and art class. So I was able to use that language, those outcomes, that impact data, and cultivate like a curriculum that like one of the school that we got it going at Western High School, the kids can instead of taking like a traditional art class, they take our mural class and then they do murals in the school. So they learn how to do that. They're
That's
learning graph though, like it's a
Yeah.
graffiti class. Like instead of taking gym, they're breaking. Like I'm training with them, like for 4 hours.
Bro, where were you when I was in school?
That's the whole thing. Where was I? Like I'm like, I gotta figure this out, man, because that was not
no.
fun in high school. Like the stuff that they gave us, like that was whack.
Man, it sounds
Um,
like you got like all the bases covered, man. Like anybody could go in there and just integrate themselves into the studio on so many levels. Like if I
yeah,
don't want to break, I could take a JIT class.
yeah,
If I don't want to dance, I can learn how to do graph. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
that's nuts. And the fact
Yeah.
that you provide this in the same city that you were raised in, I think that's beautiful, man. Like not a lot of people can say that. So, dude, kudos to you, man.
Yeah.
When
It's
we
reached pretty far too, man. I like our summer programming got so stacked. Like it's five, we teach Monday through Friday, like 10 a.m. to like 3 p.m. every day. And we're in like one of the sites has 14 instructors. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not just dance, it's producers, DJs, art makers in every kind of form,
Mhm.
dancers. It got to the point where I brought out, the Philadelphia Flav guys, man. Like
Oh yeah.
Block
Yeah.
Five and Philly Breeze,
Yes.
man, I couldn't have done last summer if I didn't have them because those guys were up at the crack of dawn, ready to break and then
Yeah.
go teach and then come back and break. And that was like you're talking 10 hours every day, 5 days a week. Wednesday, Thursday, we would chill, but like Friday, and then they would take off and go battle. And then, Mock was hit like 4 or 5 really pretty high profile jams. Breeze was doing his thing. So these guys weren't just, yeah, they were on one last summer and they were with us and they were here and they stayed with us at the spot. I've got like an artist residency space. So it's
Oh,
like one of the suites got an extra room. So they just stayed with us for the whole, I think Mock got out here in mid-June and Breeze got out here right after 4th of July and they didn't leave until the after who got the props. And that was September the 10th-ish, right? So they were here the whole time, man. And I couldn't like give a better recommendation of like professionals, like the way that they handle business, where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be. Hey, there's 15, it's supposed to only be 15 kids, there's 25. I got it. And they just handled it like it was like, damn, man. So it was cool. Like, and like to that, and then we brought up, I had to bring out like Stuntman, Lily Breeze, from the West Coast, Remedy. So I had like 6 people from out of town on top of all the dancers here working. So it was a lot, and we're gearing up for next this summer. So
Yeah,
man.
that's really amazing. Like just, so a portion of the show is we'll usually ask like the guests like when did you make the switch? So the fact that you kind of like didn't even wait, you're like, yeah, man, I just came home and quit my job.
yeah,
Um, which is by the way, that's the switch.
yeah,
Um, that's I love that. I love hearing that. I love that like how much you bet on yourself in this scenario. And I was at Freestyle Session 2014. It was a super dope event. So the fact that it resonated with you so much that you came home, quit your job, and were like, how do I make this thing work for me? This thing that I love so much become my not just my passion, but my job. And now you're breaking this down and it's like, wow, yeah, that's so dope. That's so dope, man.
Dude. That's an understatement. It's incredible, to be honest with you. You're covering all your bases. Like a lot of people open a studio and they can teach, breaking and teach it, take it as a priority. But the fact that you're expanding and you're essentially not just exposing people to breaking, it's hip hop, it's different avenues of art. Um, I think as artists, sometimes people want to be able to freely explore some other stuff without feeling like judgment, right? Or without
yeah.
feeling like, oh man, like this isn't for me. I'm gonna go back to my safe space. Like it's cool to have a space to do that. I wish I would have had something like that too in my community. So, man, you're doing like a lot of work for the people that are there. And not just that, this is the perfect segue. Not just that, you're also doing a lot of work for other communities. I see your flyer on jams in different states, man. Like you were on the ritual warfare flyer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man, like you
Yep.
support a lot of events and I'm sure like it goes beyond just like putting your logo on a flyer, but what what motivates you to support other people's events that are not within your community? Because you're doing a lot of work already. So the fact that you're doing that and then also supporting other people's events, like what is your mindset behind that? How do you even choose which events to support?
I think, and I just had a conversation. I don't know if I'm supposed to say, I'm gonna let them do the announcement, but they asked me about like, something and wanted me to be a part of their event and stuff like that, sponsorship and judge. and stuff
Hmm.
like that. And I was just like, they were like, well, we don't feel right asking you for sponsorship if we're asking you to judge and then turn around and give you the money back in a circle and stuff like that. Like, and I'm just like, oh, it's, that's what, it's cool. But like a lot of the spaces, like even like if I don't necessarily like involved with and that, like I just see like I've seen them, they've come out. Like Rahul, from Elephant Graveyard, like I support that event, and that's because he came to the studio and practiced. He was in town, I think for work or something like that, but he was just like, yeah, Marvy connected me and everything and was like, yeah, like, you know, hit up Mav. He's got a spot and we connected. And then I seen his like photography stuff and I was like, oh, this is dope. You guys are doing the event and stuff like that. Like I support y'all. Y'all have supported me like just by showing up. Kenichi with, Film Cipher and stuff like that, like doing the trophies, helping with some of the sponsorship and stuff like that. Like again, like he's pulled up to Who Got the Props without asking me for anything and come to events and stuff like that. So I say the priority has always been people who supported me before I had anything going, besides like just a spot to practice. These people pulled up for me and now I've got, more than enough to, so, provide. And that was again to Max, like I was throwing jams and like stressing because it was like, oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna make rent. He's like, what are you throwing a jam for then? Like you can't sustain yourself. You're gonna try to sustain the community. You're doing all the things backwards, So he just always cut into me. And he was like, you sustain yourself then you're able to, what do you call it? Not provide, but sustain and then like grow like yourself and like man, I can't remember. But able to just, keep yourself going and like grow, and like fortify yourself. And then you're able to like once that's done, then you're able to provide for other people, and that's the best part. You know, he showed me that in person. In effect, I used to do a jam called King Michigan. Like this was 2011, I think he came out, and he was just gonna come out, and then I told him about who I was having judge, and he was like, "Oh, they're whack." He's like, "I'm gonna bring you good judges," and I was like, "Well, who you bringing?" And he showed up with Keebs, like, and I was like, "I don't have money for Keebs." He's like, "I got it." He's like, "Don't worry about it." I was like, He took care of it," and I was just like, "Damn." He's like, "You came down to the B-boy spot. You've taught. You're just always listening and taking my advice, not just like, oh, cool." He's like you always shouted out took care of everything and stuff. So in turn, so those values definitely came from like Max helping me out early on. So then when I see people doing in similar stride, like growing, doing their thing, they're well established, like Elephant Graveyard, Film Cipher, Ritual Warfare. Those are established brands, jams, if you will. Like they don't need us like that, but like I see what they're doing and it's dope, it's real. Like it's the culture. So I'm like, yeah, in different aspects. And that's what I always just like why another thing is just like I don't want to just support big jam, big name B-boy, big prize. Like it's like, no, what about these local things that ain't local? They just don't got the somebody to give them, a little bit more support to boost up some of that stuff. And it's like that's what I'm always looking for, what I'm always working with is people that are like, you know, not just like, oh, so I'm super real, super hip hop, but they're just like dope people. They're doing something creative. Like they're like creative with this stuff. Like Felix, even with Break Connect, like that's a creative aspect. I know it's a business and all these other things, but like, oh, this is something we could create to make things streamlined, and this will make it easy, and all these things. And it's like people that are being intentional about growing the community in their own ways with their own values, to like add to it, with this platform, with Break Connect, with, the film, no pun intended,
Exactly.
with Film Cipher, you know what I mean? Just all these different, Pop Flow with the exhibition stuff and everything, and trying to add this like title card boxer, like big name event, uh, like prestige to it. Like that's dope. Not everybody needs to do that because then it just gets stale. It's like it's the values we take on the floor. If everybody's doing the same chair freeze the same way, it gets boring. Like okay, we've seen that. And we've seen that combo before. But when people start taking a chance and doing something creative, doing something unique to themselves, to their city, to their crews. It's like those are the things that I like really like look for to like support. Because, just yeah, at the end of the day, like, you know, the grant stuff has allowed us to do so much. Now we're not just expanding like because like, we're in schools, after school, in school, all over the school, all over the city. And it's like now it's gotten to the point where I'm applying for like national stuff to like me and Box One have gotten real close and collaborating business wise and how he wants to do stuff in his neighborhood and like where he grew up and like the access to it and the way he wants to do it. And it's like me and him just, like just really clicked like on that side of stuff. So it was, like I'm supporting and like helping him out. And, he's got all like these accolades and stuff that I'm gonna spend another 10 years to get a quarter of that. But it's like showing him the other side of it, because then he's like, damn, like, and now when he meets like this experience that I have and I share with like the grant stuff, he's just going to grow exponentially because he's got that world class competitor aspect to it that can, add to a whole other layer that I'm not touching, but like, doesn't devalue what I'm doing here, and like who I'm teaching and stuff like that and who's breaking. So yeah, it's just, with the sponsorship and growing and getting our name out there, and the logo on places, it's just like, oh, like I rock with you. That's what it
Yeah.
kind of comes down to, There's very few spots that I like don't know the people, and sponsor and stuff. Like I know there's been a couple other people and stuff like that popped up for jams over here in Michigan. I think his name's Albert Barbs on the East Coast. They did a smaller jam. Oh, man, I can't remember what it was offhand. Of course, like in the moment when you're trying to remember, now you feel
When you
like an
need to say
ass
it,
because
you just
you
come.
don't remember. But like just sponsoring some of them local and small jams and stuff, retro flow, like germs and stuff like that, and just all those different aspects.
Dude, like it's funny because people that essentially started breaking in the 90s, a lot of times their attitudes towards breaking today and the community today, it seems like it goes one of two routes. Like either you're very supportive and you want to see new things, you want to see smaller guys like talent that isn't blown up yet, like you want to push them forward. There's other people that just like live in the past that are like, man, like the 90s were that was the time, like the 2000s, that was the time. The kids today don't know this. So I'm already aware of where you're at, but kind of give us a little bit of your opinion on breaking today and like what you feel like either what you feel like the community needs or where you feel like the community is going and how we could get to a better overall scene.
Less old people with platforms that feel like they're entitled to dictate youth creative space.
Real.
That's a little granty, like grant writing space, but I also feel like that comes from like learning like about how like a lot of the institutions and stuff like that like dictate what's cool. And it's usually the older generations in that aspect and stuff like that that dictate like they don't want hip hop. And like it's like we're replicating the same systems that oppressed us and stuff like that when we get into this. But it's like those like
Oh,
Eurocentric things start telling us what is, the standard of beauty, what the standard of movement, creative is, and what's valuable, what's not valuable. And it's like but then they're dictating that in like black and brown spaces and stuff, but they have no connection to that. And then you've got old guys in the scene that are doing the same thing. Like they're not connected to these cities and these scenes and know, like, I don't even want to say the politics, but just the history and heritage and how, what
Real.
music, is native there and stuff like that. Like, like just how the scenes work. So I just personally feel like some of these guys that are, 45 plus and just like to talk online all the time, just constantly come from this, well, you need to, and it's just like that I did not I know I always tell my guys, like my young guys, like if I start sounding like that, you guys know what to do with me. Like like y'all know, like order 66, man, like, on me. Like just because I'm like, I don't want to sound like that because that's not why I got into breaking. I literally started breaking because it was like nobody's telling them what to do. It felt very rebellious. It felt very punk. Like the
yeah.
history of this stuff is counterculture, anti-conformist, all of this stuff. Like, and then we go and like conform and like create these like all this like hierarchy and it's supposed to look like this but be original and it's just like and like sum that up is let people fuck up a little bit. Not everything's too polished. Like people just gotta like let it happen. Let it be like raw. Let it run over time. Let it stop making everything. And I get like the organization, and stuff like that. I'm a big stickler about ending my jam early, but that's for me. But like if these young dudes want to throw a jam and they get kicked out of the venue and it feels raw and they finish the finals outside, we need some of that too. Like, not everything has to be with a clipboard, yo. Like sometimes it does need this, and it's not a dig at Break Connect. It's just sometimes don't use it. Like it doesn't fit for that. And it kind of needs to get away. Like if it's that kind of
Man,
thing.
I mean, use it. You know.
How do you say that diplomatically? You know what I mean? Like, just don't,
No,
because
but
then they're gonna blame. Everybody's gonna blame Break Connect. So it's just like don't use it.
Everybody already plays
If you
Break
don't know how
Connect.
to use it right, don't use it.
hey, that's a
There
tagline.
you
If you
go.
don't know how to use
That's
it, don't use
Yeah, don't
it.
use it. Yeah, if
No,
it's not
everyone
for
stop talking.
you.
Everyone use it. Always use it. If you don't want to use the judging system, you don't have to. But throw your
That's
event on
okay.
Break
Yeah, there
Connect.
you go. I'm not
Throw
even
your
gonna
event on
touch
Break
the
Connect.
judging shit. That's gonna get me in a bunch of trouble. But no, but just like, just keep it like let things creatively happen, let things work out. It's just I don't it's just from traveling, listening. I'm not real vocal about a lot of stuff online, like in my own platforms and sharing stuff. I'm constantly just listening, just to hear, to be like, oh, I have my value system, and I hold that, like even like my footage and stuff like that. I just don't post my breaking because I'm like, I want this for me. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to have to follow everybody's posting online. I need to post online. Like that's the standard, and and it's cool. Everyone can do that. I don't want to. I don't want to post my footage. I don't even like recording practice. So it's like, like we didn't do it. I just would work on a move till it felt right. I
Yeah.
didn't have to look at it and polish it down to frames, And so it's just like so much of that is taught through a lot of OGs and spaces of originality and do these things and, and just hearing all of it. And it's just, but it's not practiced. It's preached. It's not practiced. Lose yourself in the music. Not everything's got to be polished. That should be applied across a lot of different fronts, like the
Yeah.
the creativity of this, the battle aspect of it, the event aspect of it, the jam versus competition. Like, I think that's my big thing is just like out there is about the scene is just like more space for people need to be okay with trying something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try something new. Like do something new. Shake this shit up. If you threw a jam and you don't do prelims and you just pick the first 8 people through the door, fuck it. Why not? Just
Yeah. Why not? Fuck it. Try
yeah, why
something.
not? Well, I don't know. That's gonna piss me off, but like if I showed up and stuff, but like that's dope. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Just again, like that kind of like not that idea, but that like framework of thinking of like
I want
what
someone to do that.
yeah.
For state people through
I
the
want someone to do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll
like
force people to start
like
showing up on time.
yeah, that'll be a whole other thing. The guys in Chicago are real big about that. Chicago tribe, they were always real big about that. They were like, first 32 slots. After that, good luck. Bye. Nope,
damn.
we're not taking 33. It's 32 to sign-ups, and everybody at the door sneaks and check it, man.
Hell
They always kept it real about that. But yeah, just something new. I don't know. Like I start dictating it and saying things, but it's just like just something to shake things up, like the formula of doors open, prelims, competition, after party. Like it's like, okay, cool. And like even like implementing artists and music is cool. Um, but like what about something refreshing? Like and it's I wish people would support more non-competition spaces and things. I wish they
yeah.
would like find like more um like ways to get community together and people and rock with those spaces and stuff. Like, um, it's like that always feels to me like the pre-party, the day before always feels like the like highlight for me. Like it's always the most fun. Like because everybody's just usually you know, jammed at the studio somewhere, like, or their like neighborhood bar that they're allowed to spin and get down at and stuff, and everybody's just going, getting down, listening to music, and stuff like that feels good. But it's like it's not to like completely like, oh, we only need to party and do that because like that's not sustainable. These
Yeah,
brands
no.
ain't gonna pay for parties in that way. But just like the balance of it and just, creative ways, like, just whatever that looks like for different people. Like, we've done jams, like I've thrown the jam at an abandoned house, you know what I mean? Like out here in Detroit, like
That's hip hop.
we had a generator running out the back, and then like a week later the house got like demolished. It was funny. I was like, well, that's
Holy shit.
gone. Glad I
Dude,
got stuff out of there.
you
Just
got some stories, man. Like we
yeah,
got to do a whole other episode just to get your stories out because that's a crazy jam. I would never
yeah,
forget that.
yep. It was called It's a Jam.
Original title, bro.
You know?
Yo, no, I think I have the same sentiments, not just because like I'm part of a younger generation, but because I think hip hop has always been for the youth, like the youth to find creative outlet, the youth to push the envelope, right? Like it's always been counterculture. So a lot of the older people in the scene they've already lived that. Now they're kind of like reaping the benefits of their time, right? Like they get hired to judge, they get hired to, just teach workshops and stuff. There's a place for that. I think we do need to celebrate the people that have put in the time. But those same people can't dictate what the youth are doing today. It's a different era. So if the kids are, bringing out their camcorders and, recording their footage on VHS tapes and all that because it's just cool now again, like, hell yeah. If the kids are throwing jams that are like roulette type jams where they got, these concepts every different round, like, hell yeah, why not? Try it. You already had your time. You did. There was what was that jam in the jam in Florida, the game jam, the board game jam. What was it called? Breakonometry? No.
That sounds familiar.
Who threw it, dude? Yes, there, but it was essentially that. It was like a board game type concept jam.
Yeah.
I remember watching footage for it. Um, like that's been there. We've been there already. We had that moment. It's time to usher in the new generation. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that you also see that because a lot of people they've taken the stance of like kids nowadays, they don't know what they're talking about. Back in the day, that was the real hip hop shit. Like, nah, real hip hop is always evolving.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The
And then
sounds of
my
today,
OG said the same thing about me, like what we were doing. Oh, you're not doing it right. It's just like,
right, right. And that's the whole point. Like, I'm not supposed to do it like you. You know what
yeah,
I mean? So, man, you have all my respect in the world.
word, man.
Mav, you're that guy, man. Really.
Yeah, you are. So I have actually kind of like a question, just because I think we're about like similar age, and something that I've seen you do recently is I've seen you start to like train, enter jams. I know you used to, I don't know if you still are, but you were working with Dr. K at some point.
Yeah.
Like I work with Dr. K, and Luis, I think eventually you will also start working with Dr. K because
For sure.
you hit a certain age and things just start to hurt different. Um, but yeah, I was just kind of curious, like, what was that desire? Like, was there like a reason or something that happened? You were like, you know what, I want to kind of like get back into it. Maybe not compete on like a high, like crazy level, but the fact that you're so busy, you have so many, things going on, and you're deciding to like, you know what, I wanna like battle. I want to get down. I want to go to competition and enter.
Think I my biggest thing is I wanted to teach. Competition, competing, doing that stuff was never like a really big MO for me. It never motivated me beyond like, I don't know. I was always cocky about it. I was like, well, I don't want to train to battle. I should be ready to get down and throw rounds at any point. Like your standard should just be there, right? And so I was like, well, that's cool. I like getting down. Um, but teaching, I really enjoy teaching. I really feel like I have like a lot to offer in that space. And uh like my students out here in Detroit, like when they come up into the Michigan scene, like it's very easy for them to like progress very quickly.
Hmm.
Michigan's bar isn't too high, but I also am able to like get them like confident and then move and like start being able to compete elsewhere and stuff like that, regionally at least. Um, but like 2019, yeah, 2019, I tore my ACL and my meniscus in two spots. And
Oh,
then, yeah, and then that took, and then I didn't get insurance till like 2020, like late 2020. And then I was finally able, so I had a whole year that I was still trying to like, I'll take a month off and then come back and pop something and just be limping around for like a month or two, come back, blah, blah, blah. So it was like a whole year, year and a half. And then I got my surgery and then finding a physical therapist that like could show me how to be mobile again was like impossible. And
yeah.
so like 21, I think, yeah, 2021 or 22, I think 22, actually 22. I February of 22, um I just randomly seen a post from Dr. K, and it was right around the time I guess he had kind of made the switch, and like was going into public practice. I don't know how to, but just like putting it
Yeah.
out there. Hey, I'll help you out if you need it, stuff like that. And yeah, I seen it, and I was just like, I tried like four different physical therapists out here personally, and they just were not like it. And I think I connected with him, did a consultation, and then within a month, I wasn't able to even do like a full squat, like or a I won't say a squat, like a CC, like with my foot up front with weight on my right side. So like my left foot forward, like I couldn't do that full squat sit. I would have to be almost like sitting up in this like kind of like half squat position, and I couldn't break like that, like at all. And I have the studio. I'm like, I want to teach. Like, I need to get back. That was the big get back. Was like, I have to get back to teaching. Even if I don't compete again, I just want to be able to teach baseline. Like, and yeah, within 2 weeks, I was doing CCs with him. Like they weren't like the cleanest or fastest or anything, but I had that mobility. I had to stay with him for about a year, about 8 months, and then I had my footwork back stronger than ever, both sides. Even now, I'm 40, so like, and I'm a bigger dude, so like footwork isn't like the natural path for bigger dudes. It's usually power and stacks. Like you think of like why not from like Florida, like guys like that,
Yep.
Crumbles, like big dudes like that. What's it, Crisis out of Texas? Like those guys didn't traditionally have like aren't footwork heads. So like, and not like I'd like claim that, but like I just really stepped into like when he helped me get footwork, I took it as like I owe it back to getting this stuff right now, like and doing even more footwork. So then once I came back and I was just able to break, I was just having so much fun. I was like, yeah, I want to get out here and compete a couple times and get down and just, and I'm not trying to, like, oh, I gotta train to win to do these things. It's always like I gotta train like every week I'm pushing because like the kids I'm teaching are getting better. And I need to get better to be able to teach them new stuff. I got to get stronger. Oh man, how do I transition out of a chair freeze? And like most guys like can't hold a chair freeze, one foot chair freeze transition, turtle other side. Like I'm mad ambidextrous because of like training with Roxray and Mex and stuff and like that and then being like right left side. So it was like I have to continue to keep that, like, because of, who taught me, who took the time, and like, it felt like a disservice if I just teach and just kind of run the studio. And I could do that and step back. I could have did that. And everybody would have been cool with that, but I wouldn't have, So I was like, it just felt like people took time to get me to a space to be able to do and pursue what I love to do. The least I could do is you know, keep in action those
Yeah.
movements. So it was like that was like the biggest thing is like I have to like keep doing pushing footwork. I want to teach. Like I want to do these things. And just a byproduct of that is battling and getting down in competition that, I still love it. I still love burning,
Yeah.
but it was yeah.
Yo, shout out to Dr. K.
Yeah, man. 100% shout out to Dr. K because I would not be doing any of these patterns and like just having like fun with footwork and level changes. Like And then the ability to like pistol squat, like I was like, wow, I can pistol squat. That's crazy. Like,
Man, we got to have him on one day too, man.
yeah,
Dr. K.
man.
Future
Facts.
guest. Future guest right there.
Yep.
Um, Mav, man, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing wisdom, dude. Like we had never met, and now I can't wait to meet you in person to chop it up some more.
Likewise.
Um, before we go, we always give our guests any opportunity to plug anything. Is there anything that you want to go ahead and shout out while you're here, while we have you on the app?
Yeah. I think lately it's just been good on the competition side and just connecting and stuff like that. The Phase 2 family brought me in and stuff like that. So I'm rocking with those guys and it's dope. Wicked, like that's my guy, Wicked, man. He's definitely like I was saying about like not having legacy crews, like I didn't find Mex was the one who told me to go talk to Wicked, like, and stuff like that. And I've had nothing but like dope times and good fun. But like also like every time I lab with that guy, I just feel like I'm like 15 again, learning like some basics. Like I'm just like, oh, that's CC's, that's kickouts, like, and it's just some patterns or just something funky. And like Wicked always is like, in my corner, and that feels good, man. To finally have OG. I'm the older guy. So to have somebody an elder for me is cool. Like it took a while, but that. So there's that. 10-year anniversary, June
Oh,
6th. MCSDA's 10-year anniversary will be here. There's a lot of stuff behind that. And yeah, there's a lot. And I can't share any of it, and that sucks. But I will, okay, you know what? I could be cryptic or be enigmatic about it. Um, Something that was from the past is coming back. One of those things is coming back. There's some exhibition battles from high profile people that will be happening. And these aren't things that I was necessarily planning, but like some of the powers that be in the community, in the break competition space, I won't say community, but the break competition space, are passing my way because they rock with me and love that we're doing 10 years. I'm looking at the notes right now. Some of the people I've always wanted to work with are like got put on with that just like just made it that much easier. I don't have to do this all, it's just all happening at once. Pro breaking tour stuff, we'll be back with that. I could say that.
Yeah.
Um, what else? Yeah, there's June 6th. It's gonna be I everybody, oh yo, this is about to be the wildest time. It's gonna be a movie. It's gonna be this. Bro, I'm just pull up. No one, I don't want to record shit. Like, just be here. Like, it's gonna be dope. And it's always a good time. And I always make sure the priority is music out here. Everything from the pre-party to the jam to the after party to the kickback afterward on Sunday. The day after, we do like a whole thing. Like, that's all music for everybody. Dope
Hell yeah.
DJs, good sound systems, and decent
hell
judges.
yeah.
And they'll be able to find all the information on Break Connect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We will. Yeah, it'll all be on Break
But
Connect.
when it's ready.
Yeah, when it's
Yeah, when
ready,
I
when it's
drop
ready.
everything, it'll be there.
Hell yeah, man.
Yo, Mav, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. I love like learning more and more about your journey and all these stories. This is super dope.
So I appreciate y'all time, Luis. It's good to meet you. Felix, it's always good to run into you, man. From, an organizer and just a community person, like in the scene, like it's dope having like this Break Connect thing. It's a lane and a tool and an asset to us, man. So all the work and stuff like that, that's why I've been a big supporter for it.
That's what's up. All right, y'all. With that, this episode comes to an end.
We'll
Peace,
catch y'all
peace.
next time. Peace,
Peace.
peace.
Let me know if you stop.
Hi, I'm Felix, founder of Break Connect, and this is Socks. If you like what Break Connect does for the community, consider joining the Patreon. If you're already a Patreon subscriber, thank you. You're supporting events on Break Connect, you're supporting me, and most importantly of all, you're supporting Socks. Thank you.